Good afternoon. Welcome to the Matt and Alecia show, where Alecia and myself, we come to you every week to talk to you about business, life, and marriage. Now we're coming at you from Precision Home Group here in Anchorage, and today we're going to talk to you about when things don't go right.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be times where, something doesn't go right for you, where maybe you didn't hit a target, maybe outside things happen to you or your company. Things just happen, right? Things happen. So instead of being the effect of those, how can you be the cause of those, and how can you be the cause of creating change out of that? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Because when you're just the effect of something, when you're just let something happen to you and you find identity in that and you just give up because of that, that's when you fail, right? So we're going to talk about the positive side of that, how to create change, how to create out of that and keep things going. So, you want to take us away, Alecia?
Sure, yeah. So I want to say, I have been super guilty of this, and I am guilty of this from time to time. I just kind of used to coast in the wind, oh, this thing happened, so therefore, now this is just the way it is, instead of going out and making those changes for myself. And what it really all comes back to is taking responsibility. It's all about responsibility and not letting the circumstances control you, but you controlling them, even if it isn't a desired effect that you're experiencing.
Exactly. So, no matter what that is, we talk a lot about business because we're in business together. Talk a lot about marriage. Obviously, we're married. And sharing one big life together. So with a business example of this is if you have an employee that's maybe they're not producing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're operating on bad information or whatever it is, and you got to get to a point where you are the cause in that situation, right?
Right, so maybe sometimes you have a vendor or a client or something like that just doesn't pan out, and you just have to take full responsibility for that, and
Yep.
also have a backup plan. Sometimes you're just in that situation where a lot of things don't work out, but you just gotta figure it out anyway.
Exactly. So what's one way you could take responsibility for that situation and be the cause, not the effect. The effect, aspect of that with, we're just going by example here. A bad employee would be, they're just, that's just them being them. Good old Jeff.
Or it could be a family member. It could be
Yeah.
a family member. It could be, maybe you're out to dinner and maybe the waitress gets your meal wrong. How do you take responsibility in those circumstances to make things happen?
Yeah, great example. So how would you do that with a restaurant?
Yeah, I think, obviously you just send the food back or you would eat it anyway. That was a terrible example.
Yeah. So with the, going back to that example of the employee, whether that, they're being good or bad, just being the cause. So you using it as a coaching moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being the cause, hey, I'm going to provide you with great information. And a lot of times that's going to be really useful. The employee's gonna, see that, they're gonna absorb that, they're gonna take it on, and a lot of times you're gonna see some changes. They're gonna start operating on that good information with that, using it as a coaching moment.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, you need to be the cause of that situation. Let them go, take responsibility for that position, and then look to, like Alecia said, have it back up. You should be having people come into that position where you can train them up and get them in that.
Right, so I want to say two things. First of all, when those things happen, something doesn't go according to plan, you create policies around that. So you're okay,
Exactly.
Here are the new rules, new regulations that we have so that X thing doesn't happen again. Because if you just let it keep happening again, it's kind of your fault. And second of all, I want to give someone a different example than an employee. Not everyone has employees.
Yeah, so what's a good example?
I don't know. I thought you would come up with one.
So we'll get back to you on that, but the whole idea of this is to be the cause of everything, and then let the effect take place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if something bad happens, if something takes place, if something you're in a terrible situation or a bad environment or a bad apple in the family, whatever the case is. What we're saying is use that moment, use that thing that's going on, whatever it is, for a positive outcome.
I came up with an example.
Go ahead.
Traveling. Often when you're traveling, things just sometimes things don't line up. You get a delayed flight, or there's a hurricane, or maybe it's the last minute and you like need to book a flight right away. Like how can you take advantage of those situations and turn it around for your good? So like for example, if you wanted to, if you had a delayed flight, like what can you do with that time instead of freak out? Like how can you make that time productive instead of just like hating on that the whole time?
Yeah, so what are some ways that could do that?
I mean, there's a gajillion ways. It depends on your circumstances, but you could, get work done. You could make phone calls. You could, try and figure out if you could rent a car so you could drive to that place instead. Like,
so creating a solution.
Creating a solution.
And in that solution should be, positive, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're focusing on.
Yeah.
So in that, you said make some calls, do some work. That is creating out of that, potential leads for a business. Maybe your, potential relationship that you're binding because you're talking to someone in your family you haven't talked to.
Right.
You're doing something to create out of that instead of woe is me, I'm stuck in this airport, can't do anything.
Right. So there's always opportunities, but it's whether you have your eyes open to use them and see them and take advantage of them.
I love it. So look for the opportunities.
Yes.
And then take advantage of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's look for the opportunities, look for ways to create, and then take action to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I love it. So anything else you want to add to that, Alecia?
I guess just like it's so often when we're stuck in our circumstances or stuck in our normal routines, we're just kind of blind to the things that are right in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we have to break out of those routines to really take the next step.
Yeah, I love it. So we're taking opportunities. We're looking for opportunities first. You're not going to be able to find them if you're not looking for them.
Right.
So you got to look for them, got to take advantage of them, got to take action on them, and provide solutions. So those are the key takeaway points today. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you coming here to tune into the Matt and Alecia show. If you're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever you are, just hit that like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to our channel.